I got involved in the peace movement as a university student because it seemed like the right thing to do. There were things that were happening at that time, a big oil spill off the coast of California, disappearing forests, species loss and so forth, and we were recognizing that even if we solved these human problems, we still had another bigger issue to deal with, which was the environmental issue. And so we wanted to create a ecology movement that we felt would have the same force as the peace movement or the women's movement or the civil rights movement. And that's what we did. We decided to step up and launch a campaign to save the whales. And it was really the first time on a global scale that people had put themselves in harm's way to save another species. We believe that if we brought back images of what the whale hunt was really about, really like, that would inspire change and that we could change things in the world, and we did. We had a friend and colleague, John Cormack, who had a fish boat, and we asked him if he'd take us out into the Pacific Ocean and track down the whaling fleets, and he said, oh sure, you know. No. We bit off a little bit more than we knew when we said we were going to go out and find the whaling fleets. It's a big ocean, and we had a little fish boat that did about 9.5, 10 knots, and we're looking for whaling fleets that could do 20 knots, and they could be anywhere in the ocean, so it was a big deal. You know, our biggest concern was that we would fail and we wouldn't find the whalers, and we'd have to come back to Vancouver and admit failure. Came back to San Francisco, we had our film, we had our photographs. Our photographs appeared on newspapers all over the world. Our film appeared on television all over the world. And it changed people's minds about whales, and it changed people's minds about ecology. And most people, if you had talked to them about whaling in the 1960s or 70s, their image of whaling was the sort of Moby Dick image of tiny little men and little boats and going out with harpoons and hunting these giant leviathan. And what our photographs and film enabled people to do was to see the reality of whaling, and we flipped that image. They realized that modern whaling was industrial plunder, really, with giant industrial machines, and that the whales were powerless against this massive industrial machine. Really, the Greenpeace story took a huge leap at that point because it became internationally famous. I think that if you open your eyes and you look out in the world and you see an injustice or you see something about the world that needs to change, you just do it. When you take action, you give other people permission and encouragement to take action. You discover that there's lots of people that feel the way you do. One single person with strong convictions and the willingness to act on those convictions can literally change the world. And if we look back at the history of social change, it's always been that way. We look at Gandhi and Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and all of these people who took their own conscience and their own conviction and they acted on it. Didn't ask permission, didn't have to raise a lot of money ahead of time. So whether it's bullying in your schools or any injustice that you see in your community or in the world at large, take action. And by taking action, the rest follows.